Welcome back to another episode of Coast to Coast Podcast. The NFL schedules were released this past weekend or this past week, and there's a lot of interesting things to talk about. Um, we're gonna analyze, our favorite matchups, some of the stronger or weaker schedules, and predictions for when players are gonna come into the season. So, how are y'all doing today?
Doing just
Chilling,
fine.
man. Dandy.
Excited for this new season.
Yeah, me too.
Same.
It just sucks that it's all the way in September, bro. Like,
Yeah, but it's just little news releases like this that help the time pass. It's like schedule release and the training camp will come. It's just little stuff.
all right, so let's get right into it for our picks for game of the year. I'll start off with Liam. Go ahead and talk about your first matchup there, the Titans versus the Rams.
Yeah, so just getting into it, some things I wanted to point out for that game. I think we got to look at it's two high-powered offenses. Obviously, the Rams added Matthew Stafford this offseason, and the Titans are still who they are. They got the most dominant running back in football at this point, rushing the ball with Derrick Henry. I think a thing we're going to want to look at is the battle of A.J. Brown versus Jalen Ramsey, two physical guys of their position who are at the top of their rankings. I think A.J. Brown's bound to have a breakout year. And, going against Jalen Ramsey, it's hard to have a good game against him. Also, we're going to have to see Aaron Donald basically versus the Titans versus that interior offensive line. I think it's going to be a real battle. Him going in the trenches, trying to go for those TFLs against Derrick Henry and trying to sack Ryan Tannehill. Also going to look at Derrick Henry, his ground dominance going against the Rams team that doesn't have a lot of good linebackers. So it's going to be, seeing if those people such as Jalen Ramsey can get out there and tackle him. And, hopefully Marcus Peters, a rather skinnier corner doesn't get put on a Josh Norman highlight reel, just like Derrick Henry did to several other players in the last couple of years. And then a battle of two veteran quarterbacks I think is a little bit underrated with Ryan Tannehill and Matthew Stafford. Both guys have a lot of things to prove, year in, year out. Tannehill, who had a slower start to his career, and Matthew Stafford, who's been electric, but now is on a team in position to succeed. He's going to have all the pressure on him. And at week 9, it's going to be kind of the determining factor, if he isn't doing so well or if he's doing so well, it's going to be, are they be able to go against a team like the Titans, primetime Sunday Night Football, and be able to show up. So that's my first pick.
Two teams that are built to kind of exploit each other's weaknesses. Obviously, the Rams, one of the stronger teams against the pass, and the Titans not having that many passing weapons this season, but also the Titans being so strong in the run, and obviously that being the Rams' weakness there. So yeah, it'll be a good matchup to see. What about you, Carson? Get into your Rams-Niners matchup. I want to hear about that one.
Yeah, definitely. And also, by the way, that Titans-Rams matchup, super excited for that too. I had Monday Night Football, Week 10, Rams-Niners. I think two teams that, I feel like I can predict that they'll be atop the division around this time. You have offensive geniuses in McVay and Shanahan, battling it out. Which should be a very pivotal game deciding the fate of that division. Week 10, getting closer and closer to the playoffs. You have stars on both sides of the ball, and barring injuries, really should be an intense division rivalry game and should really set the tone for the playoff push for the NFC West, which I think we can all agree is the most competitive division by far. So I'm really excited for that one.
Yeah,
easily.
I'm really hyped to see the competition in this division. I mean, it's really a 4-man race. It's insane.
Yeah.
My first game, or the first game I want to talk about here, is Week 4, Buccaneers at Patriots. Tom Brady's return to Foxborough. Let me give y'all a little juicy stat right here. Tom Brady is sitting 1,154 yards away from passing Drew Brees in all-time passing yards. The first 3 weeks, he faces Dallas, Atlanta, and then the Rams. Atlanta obviously being dead last in opponents' passing yards last season, and we already know about the Cowboys' secondary. He only needs about 288 yards per game to pass Drew Brees by Week 4, and it's only right for him to do it in Foxborough. He's going to come to play. The biggest conversation, regarding Brady's career has been, who was more responsible for the Patriots' success? Is it Brady? Is it Belichick? Obviously, last year with his departure, he won a Super Bowl in his first season in Tampa, and Belichick's not looking too hot right now. The Pats are struggling, and these two have played the most games ever for a head coach QB tandem at 324, almost 100 games ahead of second place, which is Sean Payton and Drew Brees. So there's a lot of history here. It's an extremely emotional game for both sides. And I mean, no one knows Brady better than Belichick does, but at the same time, nobody knows Belichick better than Brady does. So it's going to be fun to see the tactics they throw at each other, the different types of schemes that they show, the looks, the disguises, everything. It's going to be super fun to watch.
This is the juiciest one for sure. Like, I saw this one on the schedule. I'm like, this is too easy to pick. Like, I'm just going to let this slide. Like, this is for sure. Like,
I saw all the
juiciest one.
graphics, just like the two looking at each other. This is gonna go crazy just to see, like, especially like, I mean, we'll get into it later in the episode, but if Mac Jones is starting this game, the Brady replacement,
that would, dude, icing on the cake, bro.
or like you guys seen the video of like Cam Newton like staring at the Legion of Boom running through the tunnel? Just imagine like Mac Jones or Tom Brady staring at the opposing defense. Like Mac Jones just staring at the opposing defense, the Super Bowl champions just running through the tunnel, just like, yeah, I'm about to own you guys in Foxborough. Like, that's just crazy.
It's just too good.
The NFL knew what they were doing with the 4 games. Like, they like planned it out. They're like, all right, by week 4, he should be like around the record. Like, they knew what they were doing. I see you, Roger.
What would suck is if he breaks the record before week 4, which he probably, I mean, he could, because he's definitely going to throw over 300 against Atlanta and Dallas. Probably won't against the Rams, but you never know.
Yeah, it definitely could happen, but hopefully not. Hopefully it's this game.
Yeah, Liam, I want to hear about your Chargers-Chiefs matchup. A great matchup last season. Obviously, we saw Herbert step in there for the first time, so take it away.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, like you're talking about Herbert stepping in for the first time, they literally just tell him Tyrod Taylor's hurt. You got to jump in here. But this game is going to be ridiculous. Like, I don't see how, like, if these teams are fully healthy, if they're fully healthy, there's so many storylines here. You got the reigning rookie of the year who has a lot of hate on him despite, winning rookie of the year because Justin Jefferson had such a record-breaking season, but so did Herbert. And, a guy with 2 guys at absolute cannons for arms. We got the MVP himself, Patrick Mahomes. And then, Derwin James should be a healthy guy. And to see him in the secondary, I love Derwin James. He's one of my favorite players in the NFL. And seeing Joey Bosa go against this much improved Chiefs offensive line, he's going to, maybe try to attack inside, outside. Probably want to stay on the outside. They don't have a great tackle play from what we see. I mean, really, it's Joe Thuney in the inside. I mean, they also got Orlando Brown, so he's going to go against Orlando Brown. And then it's a division rivalry to begin with. Just Herbert's going to have and Mahomes going to have all the pressure to deliver. Everyone's going to want to see a Rams-Chiefs game right here. Like, it's 2 high-powered offenses with not really, like, fantastic defenses, but we got to look at the other fact that Brandon Staley's now coaching the Chargers. He's a defensive-minded guy. That's what he was brought in for from the Rams, who were number 1 rated defense last year. So it's going to be a crazy game, just to see some bombs to Tyreek, Keenan Allen doing some crazy stuff, Austin Eckler getting passes out the backfield. And, now no longer Hunter Henry. We know we got the veteran Jared Cook out there. So I think it's going to be a great game Thursday night. So it's going to get excited for the games to come in the weekend.
Yeah, definitely one I'm looking forward to as well. But Carson, another Chiefs matchup, this time against the Bills. A great matchup last season as well. I believe it was a playoff matchup, correct?
Yeah, rematch of the AFC Championship game. I mean, we all picked the Chiefs, but they've earned it. They've been the greatest show on turf for the last couple of seasons. Like I said, rematch of the championship game, battle. Potentially like a decade-long rivals. I mean, I think these are 2 teams that are really set for the future to just compete against each other for AFC titles. 2 top young QBs battling it out. You got the Bills, who are still salty about the AFC Championship game, and then you have the Chiefs, salty about their Super Bowl loss. It should be a fantasy shootout. There's going to be so many fantasy stars all around this game. And I think it's going to be very reminiscent of like that Rams-Chiefs game a few years ago, which I think is like, really what inspired us to do this segment, because that was just such an amazing regular season game. But yeah, I just love the Josh Allen-Mahomes matchup, 2 gunslingers. Like, it's going to be so fun. I think similar to the Chargers Chiefs game, just 2 absolute, gunslingers and just like cannons everywhere. So I'm super excited for that shootout. And that's Sunday Night Football Week 5. So
yeah, I'm firing up all Bills receivers, all Chiefs receivers.
Everybody starts.
But yeah, my last matchup here is also a Chiefs game. We've all got Chiefs matchups. But mine is the Chiefs versus the Ravens. The Ravens are 0-3 versus the Chiefs with Lamar as a starter. It's been a really tough hurdle for them. Lamar has yet to beat them. And they've got to prove that they can beat Kansas City if they want to prove, that they can be real Super Bowl contenders in this AFC. Obviously, they lost Orlando Brown in the big trade with KC, but they signed former Chief Sammy Watkins and drafted Rashad Bateman. But the biggest question mark for KC is how will their new O-line mesh together? Obviously, they've got Thuney. They lost Schwartz. They lost their other tackle.
Fisher,
yep. They got Kyle Long out of retirement. But, this is the two hottest young superstar QBs in the league right now. And also the first ever back-to-back black QBs to win MVP. I think Lamar wants that Super Bowl, and he wants to prove that he too can team to a Super Bowl just like Mahomes. So it's a great storyline there.
I feel like the Lamar resurgence is coming. The Lamar comeback.
Yeah. And that is week 2, Sunday Night Football. So pretty early on, we're going to see this great matchup. Hopefully both teams should be healthy.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope.
We hope for everyone to stay healthy. No one wants to see injuries.
Yeah. But there is an extra week. We were talking about this before the pod started. With this extra week and teams having late bye weeks or early bye weeks, they're going to play a lot of games in a row. And I feel like injuries are really just going to take over the season. I feel like they definitely should have added another bye week.
Load management. Are we gonna introduce load managing in the NFL?
100%.
Potentially.
Yeah, not for this game though. This game's too important. But well, hopefully
banned on prime time.
Yeah, banned on prime time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Good segue to talking about scheduling though. We're gonna look at the strongest NFL schedules in comparison to the weakest in terms of combined winning percentage of teams from last season. Obviously, we've got a lot of AFC North teams here and NFC North teams here on the strongest, and we've got the NFC least here on the weakest. Hopefully, they can have a bounce back season as a division because they didn't have a single team above 500 last season. But yeah, I mean, what are you guys thinking about this?
I'll start it off. As the strongest NFL schedules go, I mean, like you said, the two AFC North squads. It's just that's another division, kind of like the NFC West, where just 3 out of the 4 teams are just 3 of the most elite teams in the AFC. I mean, the Steelers, they have the Browns twice, Ravens twice. They get the Chiefs in Kansas City, and they have 2 away games against the Bills and the Packers. Very tough for old Big Ben. And then the Ravens, kind of the same thing. They get the Chiefs, Colts, and Chargers all in the first 6 weeks. And the last 5 games include the Browns, Packers, Steelers, and the Rams. And then the Bears. The Bears have this crazy gauntlet in the middle of the season. Let me bring this up real quick. It's where is it? Oh, okay. So the middle of the season, they have the Bucks. Let's see, Bucks, Niners, Steelers, and Ravens. Bruh, come on. That's tough.
That's tough.
So yeah, it sucks for the Bears, and then the Packers, Vikings too. I mean, yeah. Vikings, who knows with them, but they just have an insanely tough schedule too. What about you, Liam?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of going in, looking at some weak schedules. And it's good that the Cowboys and the Eagles have weaker schedules, but I don't really know why it's such a weak schedule. The Eagles face the Chiefs, they face the Buccaneers. They go against, Washington football team, basically almost back to break back weeks. So, and then they're going against the Giants in that week between. So they have 3 hard defenses to go to at the end of the year. So it's going to be hard for Jalen Hurts to prove himself. But at the same time, they're going against teams like the Lions, the Raiders, the Cowboys, who are susceptible to secondary, the Panthers, who we don't really know what they're going to be, the Jets. So, and then the Buccaneers getting a weak schedule, what the hell is that for? I mean, I guess they don't play in the toughest division, but
yeah,
whatever. Still, you're the defending Super Bowl champs. The NFL should bump it up a bit.
All I got to say is on the bottom, we see the Dolphins are one of the weaker schedules. Who will break out? Please happen.
They still have some tough teams though. I mean, they got the Colts, Bills, Bucks, Ravens, Panthers are going to be frisky. Patriots twice, Bills twice. I mean, still like decently tough. But there are a lot of like shitty teams thrown in there too. So
Yeah. The NFC North has one of the toughest combined like scheduling as a division. The Lions should be really happy if they win a single game. Sixth schedule in the league. The Bears are facing a win percentage of 550 from last season. Packers 542. The Vikings facing 531. The Lions first half of the season they face San Francisco, Green Bay, Baltimore, Chicago, Minnesota, Los Angeles, the Matt Stafford game, and Philadelphia. I don't see a whole lot of winnable games here. Green Bay is really the only team that I can see running away with this division if Aaron Rodgers is back. But if he's not, this division is going to be an NFC least 2.0 where every single team just struggles on a weekly basis, and it doesn't seem like anybody wants to win this division. It's kind of
if Rodgers is gone, it's for sure another NFC least.
Yeah. To put it in perspective, the NFC least this season, 3 teams have top 10 easiest schedules based on winning percentage. Eagles are facing 430. The Cowboys are facing 452, and the Giants are facing 472. So that's an insane discrepancy in strength.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to touch on?
Nah.
No, I'm chilling.
All right. And we can move on to the rookie QBs. When are they going to step in here? I don't think any of us have the same prediction, so this is going to be interesting. Carson, I'll start off with you. Tell me about why you think Fields is starting week 5.
So the first 3 weeks, the Bears, they have the Rams, Bengals, and Browns, which could potentially be like an 0-3 start. You know, Burrow's healthy and he's able to shoot out the Bears, which is very possible because he's got the talent, he has the weapons. And then you have the Lions, which they should win, of course. Then they play a Raiders team that could easily beat them as well. So you could hypothetically be looking at like a 1-4 start, you know, best case scenario, maybe like 2-3. And then you get to the Packers. It's the division rival with a very vulnerable secondary. And I just want to throw Fields out there, you know, get him a little loose against the Packers. And then you have that 4-week gauntlet that I mentioned, the Bucks, Niners, Steelers, and Ravens. And I think with a team like the Bears, it doesn't really have, you know, super like realistic Super Bowl aspirations. Why not throw Fields out there against, you know, 4 of the best possible, you know, defenses? You know, just let him learn, let him make those mistakes. And then, you know, once you get out of those 4 weeks, you have a very favorable schedule on the other side of that. You have the Lions, Cardinals, Packers, and then the Vikings twice. All after that, all very, very exploitable. That, you know, he's able to, you know, get more and more comfortable. He already saw the worst of it. He's able to finish the season strong. And I'd rather just go with an explosive rookie that, you know, teams have no tape on him, you know, rather than throw Andy Dalton out there against those hard teams that, you know, they know Andy Dalton. Like it's very simple, you know, to game plan against him. And I just rather take the, you know, a rookie that, you know, they don't know about. I think that's the one thing with Herbert. You know, he came in unexpected and then just put on a show because 1, his talent, and then 2, no one had any film on him yet. And I think that's something, you know, similar with Fields. And just with the Bears, it's like you trade up to get him. Why not start him earlier rather than later? So, which I know, Jose, you got like super early. So I respect that.
Yeah, the reason why I got him week 2 is because Andy Dalton is just not that dude. I mean, but he also has so many weapons. He does not have a CeeDee Lamb in Chicago. He does not have an Amari Cooper. He doesn't even have a Dalton Schultz. I mean, I'm hoping, you know, Fields can hop in there and be effective immediately, just like Herbert last season. He's way more electric. He's going to sell tickets. The reason why I didn't put him week 1, which he might go in there week 1, I feel like they might just have Dalton on a short leash. And if he struggles, just throw him in there. But yeah, I think they should just wait a week, throw him in against a weak team like the Bengals, and do not look back. Please do not hold him back like the Dolphins did to Tua. You're not a contender, Chicago. Please focus on developing.
Yeah, exactly.
The most talented QB they've ever had. So yeah. But Liam, to talk about why he's going against your Niners week 8.
Yeah, so I think there's just so much storyline at this point. I mean, just talking about it from the schedule wise, the Bears are probably going to be on a 2-game skid at this point, losing to the Packers and losing to the Buccaneers in week 6 and 7 respectively. Then furthermore, they're going to need offensive rejuvenation against a 49ers defense that, if healthy, because they weren't healthy last year, are going to be a very hard defense to face for this Bears team. And just the revenge game in a way. Justin Fields should have been that number 3 overall pick, and then he's going to go out there against the team that had the chance to take him and go and show his talents to them. Trey Lance probably isn't going to be starting by then. None of us have a week 8 start. I mean, not like we know what's going on in San Francisco, but none of us have a week 8 starter earlier for Trey Lance. So to see that happen, I think Justin Fields can go out there. It's going to be, a great game to watch, to be able to see Fields go out there against a team that had to pick to take him and didn't have the opportunity and maybe get a win against the 49ers.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great storyline. And it's a good segue into our next QB, Trey Lance. Carson, you've got him starting week 9, the earliest of us 3. Why is that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I mean, the only season where Jimmy G's even made it to week 9 without an injury was that Super Bowl season. So there's that factor. Week 7 and 8, the Niners play 2 very tough defenses in the Colts and the Bears. I mean, I feel like that's where Jimmy G's going to struggle, back-to-back games. And I think, that's, where the Niners will feel it's time to, pull the plug on Jimmy G and then have a second half resurgence with Lance. He'll play the Cards and the Rams, tough division matchups. But then after that, it seems to be, pretty smooth sailing, starting week 11 with the Jags, which was my first pick, but then I saw Liam had it. So I'm like, I choose something different. With the Jags and then the Vikings, Seahawks, Bengals, Falcons, Titans, Texans, and then finishing with the Rams. And besides the Rams, all bottom tier, very, very exploitable defenses for Trey Lance. And, that's why, because I think just that bulk of that schedule, I think it's too juicy and it's too, it's the perfect time for him to come in against, like I said, very exploitable defenses.
Yeah. I had a much later start. I just think there's really no need to start him early. If Jimmy struggles, maybe, or if he gets hurt. But Jimmy really knows how to run this offense. If the Niners plan on being competitive, which I'm pretty sure they do, I would stick with Jimmy. If they get off to a rough start, why not throw him in there? But I don't really do. I said week 14 because I see a couple scenarios. Either Jimmy is banged up and they kind of have to throw Lance in there, or they've already clinched, a good spot and they just want to throw him in against a weak team, kind of see what he's got. But that was my reasoning.
Yeah, so I'll just take it away here. I had it week 11. Obviously, Carson mentioned that was his first choice to start with. But I think it makes sense. You don't want to throw him in week 9 or 10. I think that's too hard of a game. I think the Cardinals defense is very underrated this year. Obviously, they got Byron Murphy and Budda Baker in the secondary. They got Isaiah Simmons, who should be taking a leap into stardom next season. And then they got J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones, who are basically number 1 and number 2 in terms of sacks in the last, couple of years, last 5 years, both dominant guys in terms of pass rush. So I think putting him against the Jaguars, a relatively easy team, gives him a warm up against a bad defense that, Urban Meyer doesn't specialize in defense. Offense is his thing. So you throw him in there because if this San Francisco team is competing for a playoff spot, I think Lance is the guy you got to go with because he brings more of a dynamic offensively that he can rush the ball and he can throw the ball. So he gives, gives Shanahan the ability to read option in his run game, which is going to be ridiculous. But then you get him against the Jaguars, then he slightly progresses to a Vikings team with, if healthy, is going to be a hard team to face. And then the Seahawks at Seattle is going to be a huge game. 5:20, it's going to be Sunday Night Football. And then, easy up with the Bengals, the Falcons, and then Titans, Texans, and Rams to end the year out. I think, throwing him at the Bengals, makes sense, but I think the only problem I'd have with that is if they're competing for a playoff spot, that's way too late to throw them in. But that would be an ideal spot if we weren't going to make the playoffs, because that's a really easy schedule for the rest of the year.
Yeah. I would love to see him battle against Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, and I also agree with your point, Jose, that I think that they should wait as long as possible just because, Jimmy G has proven that he can, handle the offense. But I'm just kind of predicting that, they might either get off to a slower start because, they do have a solid schedule of the first few weeks, or that, Jimmy G, it's, very likely to bet on him that he'll get injured, due to his track record. So just more of a prediction. But I do agree with that. I would want to wait as long as possible before throwing Lance in there.
Yeah. And correction, you guys do have the same the same start time for Mac
Yeah.
Jones being week 5.
Yeah, I didn't want to do it twice. I didn't want to do it 2 quarterbacks, but this one, like, we'll get to it.
Yeah, Carson, go ahead.
Yeah, so the reason I chose this week was the sole fact that, week 4 is, like we mentioned, that Bucks Patriots game. And I think, Belichick, I'm assuming that Tampa Bay, probably going to win. I think they should. I think they're the better team. I think Belichick's just going to be so pissed that he lost against Tampa Brady in that week that he'll just be so frustrated with Cam at that point. They don't need to change it up and start with Mac. We're all desperate to see Brady versus Mac Jones, but I think, that loss to the Bucks will kind of be the last straw. And then, you're able to throw him in against, a very, very weak Texans team, which I think, like the Lions, I think is, if Watson's not there, which is most likely the case, it's going to be very hard for them to, get wins too. So, yeah, that's my case.
And I'll just add on to that real quick before Jose starts. Like Carson was mentioning, like, let's say week 1 versus the Dolphins, I think it's going to be a hard game. I don't know if they win that necessarily. This Dolphins team, that's a very, very good defense, very underrated there. So let's say they lose there. Cam does bad, or just Cam does bad in general. Week 2 against the Jets, I think Cam's going to have a bounce back game. So then they'll be like, okay, 1-1, basically. Like, Cam seems like he can be fine. Then against the Saints, they'll probably play back because that's still a very good defense. And okay, like, you're almost there. And then Sunday Night Football, Cam can't pull it out against the Buccaneers. Then that's just the last straw. You know what? We're playing the Texans. Throw Mac Jones in there. It's his time to shine. Give him the Texans, give him the Cowboys, the Jets, the Chargers, and the Panthers before they face a team like the Browns in week 10. So it gives them plenty of time to prep for like a really solid defense because, the Chargers are a good defense on paper, but we haven't seen them in a while. And the Panthers also are one on paper, but we haven't seen what they can do so far. So, or to have like week 10 be the solidified game where we know they're going to be facing a star team, I think it's a perfect time for Mac Jones to get ready.
Yeah. It would be hilarious if Mac Jones is going against Davis Mills in that game. Just like football we're going to see.
Yeah. The most random QB matchup.
Yeah. But the reason why I had week 3 is I just think Cam's going to get hurt early, or he's going to be terrible and just incapable of throwing the ball more than 10 times a game for 20-plus yards. New England's the 3rd best team in this division. They're not competing with the Bills or the Dolphins. You spent a first-round pick on this guy. I want to see him against Brady in week 4. So, give him a week to kind of settle in week 3 and then take it away in week 4.
We all want that. That would be so sick.
We would love it.
Yeah.
I don't think every news platform would go crazy.
And it's tough. Like, I hate like not believing in Cam, but just like from what happened last year and just, he does have the new tight ends and like a little bit of an upgrade, but just from what we saw last year, just hard to have, faith in Cam's ability to run this offense.
Yeah. It's just tough to believe in this Patriots team overall.
Yeah.
Still a very good defense though. They got Kyle Van Noy back. They got Christian Barmore in the draft, who was a steal. A lot of guys, McGilmore, J.C. Jackson in the secondary, Kyle Duggar taking another step. There's a lot of guys coming back. Dante Hightower coming back from opting out. So they should be
basically like their whole defense coming back from opting out.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah. It'll be exciting to see. But you guys have any final thoughts on the schedules?
I'm excited.
Yeah, it just gets me excited, bro. I can't wait. Like, it just sucks. It's just May.
Yeah, it's only May. But yeah, the offseason always goes by pretty quick. We've got like mini camp and
we'll be distracted by like doing fun shit during summer. So
true.
NBA playoffs, all that stuff. We got the playing tournament coming up.
Yeah, that's gonna get us through.
Yeah, hopefully LeBron loses to the Warriors.
Curry's gonna drop like 60.
Yeah. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Coast to Coast podcast, or our schedule preview. We hope you guys are excited as we are for next season. Obviously, we're going to be coming in with some heat next season. You can count on it. But this is Jose signing out. Peace.